Hi, this is Gary with MacMost Now. On today's episode, let's take a look at secondary clicks. So what is a secondary click? Well, secondary click you may know by a different name like right click or control click. Basically, when you're using your pointing device, whether it's a trackpad or a mouse, you have your primary click and your secondary click, also known as left and right mouse button clicks back in the days when mice had distinct buttons and one was on the left, one was on the right. Now many Mac users may be used to only having one Mac button, especially if you've been using Mac for a long time, because there was a period where Mac mice only had one button. So secondary clicks weren't the usual thing. And then the only way to do a secondary click was to hold the control key down, not the command key, but the control key down on your keyboard and click with the one button. And you can still do that, and it's the way that a lot of people, including myself, prefer to generate the secondary click. Now there are a variety of ways to cause the secondary click. So let's look in System Preferences, and under Hardware you'll see both mouse and trackpad. Let's start with trackpad if you're using that on a MacBook. You see under secondary click here you can choose between one of three ways to generate it using the trackpad. You can click with two fingers. You can click in the bottom right or the bottom left corner to generate the secondary click. Now of course there's the fourth way, which is to do a regular click but holding the control key down on your keyboard. Now let's say you're using a mouse. Say you're using the standard wireless Apple mouse now. You also have the ability to set your secondary click. You can set it so it clicks on the right side or the left side, so you can switch it back and forth. So the standard thing is on the right side. Notice also on both the trackpad and the mouse I can turn off secondary click. So there's no way to actually do it with the mouse or the trackpad. You have to use the control key. You can always use the control key to generate the secondary click. So what can you do with the secondary click? Well, using it will in almost any case generate a context menu. So for instance, if I click once on this file here in the Finder, I simply am selecting the file. But if I'm doing the secondary click, I get a context menu of all those different things I can do with that file. The same for other things. For instance, in the dock I can click on any of these icons to run the app, but if I control click on it I get some other options of things I can do with it. And other apps will do other things. For instance, most graphics apps will bring up a context menu depending upon what you have selected. But some 3D apps will actually do different things when you say secondary click and then move the mouse. Maybe they will rotate the screen rather than move the view of the screen. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. But the important thing to realize is that when you say secondary click or right click or control click, they all mean the same thing, and there are various ways to get that. Also, get in the habit of using the secondary click to bring up a context menu. If you can't figure out how to do something with an object like a file, a document, some text, whatever it is, think about maybe control clicking or secondary clicking on that object to see what commands come up in the context menu. Hope you found this useful. Till next time, this is Gary with MacMost Now. If you found this video useful, there's one thing you can do for me in return. It won't cost you anything and it will just take you a few seconds. If you're not already at MacMost.com, go there and then look for the video you just watched and go to that page. Underneath the video you'll see a bunch of different links that help you share the video with friends. Take a second to click the like button. This sends a signal out to the rest of the internet that the video is worth watching. Thanks.